Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show. For those of you at home who are familiar with the program, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the brand new series. And for those of you who haven't seen the program before, then welcome to Real Talk. It's a show where we look at some of the issues that affect people in today's society. Now, before we get into today's topic, I just want to thank everyone who's been able to get in touch with us via email or through the website from our last program. We've had a lot of positive feedback, so thanks for that. On today's show, we're going to be looking at the issue of marriage and having a look at some of the issues that are around that topic. When's the right age to get married? How do you find the right person? And what are some of the issues that might affect you once you are married? Well, to help answer some of these questions, I've got a special guest here with me in the studio today, which I'd just like to introduce to you today. First of all, we have Maulana Azhar Hanif Saab, who's a missionary in charge for the South Midwest region of the USA. We have Maulana Abdullah Khan Chaudhry Saab, who's a missionary in charge of Bangladesh, and Dr. Aziz Afiz Saab, who's the Naib Sadr for Khadam al-Ahmadiyya here in the UK. So that's our guest panel, and obviously we've got our studio audience here who I can see are eager to add in their points of view in the discussion. But first of all, let's find out what ordinary people think about marriage. Let's take a listen to the word on the street.
Marriage, by traditional definition, is a formal union between man and woman. Now, it's a tradition which has existed for thousands of years, yet today, while some cultures still consider it an essential part of adult life, for some, the idea of marriage has lost its worth altogether. So, for a moment, let's ignore the dictionary definition and see if we can find the real meaning of marriage on a personal level. Why do some people consider it so important and yet others disregard its significance altogether? In 2007, 270,000 people in the UK got hitched. That's a lot of cake and a lot of diamonds. It was actually a 2.7% decrease on the year before. In England and Wales, also in 2007, the number of unmarried adults rose. And if you combine these two statistics, you get the lowest marriage rates in the UK since records began all the way back in 1862. So then, why the decline? Is it a sign of the decrease in moral values of society and the breakdown of the family unit? Or are people just not that bothered about getting married anymore? Well, there's only one way to find your opinion on this, so me and the team have come to South East London to ask you what you think. Why do you think marriage is important then? Why has it been important for you both?
Because it binds you together. You're a couple. You're a strength. You've got your family. We've got two boys. They're both married. We've got a granddaughter. We're a unit. We're all together. You've always got your best friend.
Now, some people would say it's just a bit of paper, and it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, lots of people treat it like that, don't they? But I wouldn't actually say that is the case. I would probably say that it's more important to a lot of people, even nowadays, because so many people are still getting married. It must mean something to somebody, mustn't it?
I told you that rates of marriage in the UK are in decline. Would that surprise you?
No, because I read it in the Telegraph the other day, actually. I'm surprised, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it's just as easy to move in together.
Why do you think it's important?
Well, I think, like having a relationship's important because it shows commitment.
OK, why do you think it's important then? Why is it something you're looking forward to, perhaps?
Well, I think it's important for, someone. You can't be on your own forever, you know what I mean? You have to have someone to support your life with, I think it's a good thing.
So is that your view then, that
Yeah.
you think marriage is like submitting to a man, like giving away your rights and then you'd be locked up,
Not
shackled to
not
the
really,
seat?
not really. You sort of support each other. But women are generally more dependent when they're younger. They want to have a career of their own. They're not housewives like they used to be in the olden days and stuff.
So that was the word on the street. Okay, so let's start the topic of the discussion for today. Azhar Hanif Saab, how do you think people actually view marriage in today's society?
It's quite obvious that times have changed. I mean, dramatically. I'm not talking about just a slight shift in attitudes, where people may think it's okay if everyone in society doesn't feel marriage is important. I'm talking about a dramatic shift where marked percentage points of people, numbers of people are saying it's not that relevant to our life now to make us happy. And we can have a fulfilled lifestyle and be a good, productive citizen of society, achieve our dreams, achieve our goals outside of this institution called marriage. And I don't mean, again, living a celibate or single life. I mean having partnerships and relationships and children and everything without this one clause of I have a piece of paper saying I am attached to someone through marriage. So this is the shift in time as we're seeing it now across the board throughout Europe, throughout Americas, and in many places where the attitudes have been shifting.
Okay. Also, would you agree to that? I mean, as Anif Saab said that, in fact, people just want to be happy in life and they don't really need to be married to be happy.
Well, I come from the East and I'm facing the questions from the West right now, so I have to be very clear on this, that still in the East, the marriage is considered as a sacred official agreement between two parties represented by the groom and the bride. And this is a phenomena which is still holding there. But of course, the trends are there, as Brother Hanif was mentioning, that the trends have started poking in and pouring in, that marriage is not that important anymore as it was seen earlier. So I'm not very much familiar with the Western situation here, but as I have seen the clipping, definitely there are drifting going on right now.
Okay. Dr. Saab, why do you think less people are getting married?
Going back to really Mullah Hanif Saab's point, why people are getting less than that need not to be attached. And to go back on the point in terms of why those issues are happening, I think before even answering the question as to why, it's probably wise to look at an impression from society itself as to what they feel is actually happening. Even here within the United Kingdom, even recently, over 2 months ago, a senior family judge spoke about the situation that we have with relations, and if I can quote him, Justice Coleridge, who recently spoke, and he mentioned when he described the situation that we have with the lack of marriage, and he states, "What I hope in all humility I am drawing attention to is the endless game of musical relationships or pass the partner, in which such a significant portion of the population is engaged in this endless and futile quest for a perfect relationship which will be attained, it is supposed, by landing on the right chair or unwrapping a new and more exciting parcel." I just would like to sort of throw that out. That's an impression that a prominent judge has made of the situation that we have on the ground at the moment.
Okay, so what do the audience think here? I mean, you've all grown up, most of you grown up here in this society. How do other people view marriage nowadays? Kaleem, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I think to me it seems like it's a longer process than something that presenting it as a 20th century or 21st century phenomenon. Yes, with the advent of media and the advent of the commercialization of an image of a woman as independent from the family, this has become an ideal, clearly, but its roots are much deeper as far as I can see, because throughout the history of Western media, and if we go back into the history of Western art, for example, you have a long subjugation of women that's represented in art with the objectification of women. Right. A woman is the observed, man is the observer. Woman is passive, man is active. And because of these things, it's bound to happen that as soon as women start to gain financial independence, which, the beginnings, the roots of that are really after the First World War and Second World War, they begin to see themselves free.